Good morning. And I hope you're hearing me say good morning. I've attempted to start this stream about 15 times this morning, and I'm still hoping the signal will hold out here. We're in Mount Airy, Maryland. This isn't where I planned to start the stream. I wanted to start the stream way up that hill, all the way at the top of that hill, about a quarter of a mile up, is the Pine Ridge? Now I can't remember the name of it. Pine Ridge, I think, cemetery and school dating back to 1846. It's also the town's war memorial to all those who served in all wars. And so we are going to try to play Main Street Bingo. Um, every other prior attempt at this stream didn't stay up for more than 3 seconds. So we'll see how far we can go. But if you're playing along, you'll have to trust me that we did see the town war memorial up there at the top of the hill. And there's so many nice examples of beautiful 1800s architecture that there was just no signal. So I had to walk all the way down here to get a signal. But we're still going to see a great Main Street. But it would have been a really nice start at the top of the hill because it was also a great view of the sunrise this morning. So, oh, good. I see one person has found me. 2 people have found me. Yay. I don't know. Someone said yesterday that there was a problem with YouTube and live streaming. So maybe it's not just me and my bad luck with these signals. We're in Mount Airy, Maryland. And we're going to stream as long as we can. And we're going to take a look at this beautiful, beautiful Main Street community here. Not many people just say that. Oh my gosh. I literally attempted this stream about 15 times. And I had to keep moving and moving and moving to find a signal. I'm almost afraid to move right now. Ben, good you found me. Good. I had to delete the original stream. It wasn't working and the camera was freaking out. Buff. And if I lose the stream on this lovely, lovely Main Street, and I'll talk really fast. We're in Mount Airy, Maryland. We're west of Baltimore. In 1828, the Baltimore and Ohio Railroad began construction in Baltimore. In fact, it was on July 4th, 1828. By 1831, it was making its way west. And according to a sign here, it says 1839, but I thought it was a little earlier. Mount Airy was established as another railroad town along the line. Hi, fancy son. I'll keep moving. And we'll take a look at some of these buildings. You can see some names and dates on some of these buildings. This says M.L. Nicodemus. I'm guessing it was some kind of a shop back in the day. Again, it always amazes me on those little small town roads how people drive on them. We will zigzag when it is safe so to do. But we also see for our main town, oh brother, I'm down to 1 bar. For our Main Street Bingo card, here we have the banners with the hometown heroes. So that's another mark on our bingo card. And across the way, 1928, this is where the historic firehouse was. So it's shops now. It's George's Girls Jewelry and Main Street Bistro next door and Crying Johnny's Hot Dogs on the end. But you can see this was the Mount Airy Volunteer Fire Department, company number 1, back in 1928. So we can check off the historic. Thank you, Viper. Thanks for the words of encouragement. The historic firehouse was there. And this is such a good Main Street. We have a little art gallery here. Little tiny art gallery on the street. Would I sacrifice my life if I knew my kid would go on to become Batman? I think I would. As long as it's one of the good Batmans. Batman's. I think we should say Batman's. All right, I'm climbing up a hill now. It's so weird. I'm not even going to talk about the signal. Let's just not talk about it. I appreciate everyone who's hanging on to this disaster of a stream again. But we're coming up to the best part of this little main street here. And along the way on this main street, there are these awesome little historic plaques that tells you what the shop was in the old days. And here you have the whole list of the restaurant owners. This has been a restaurant since 1934 with all these different owners in that near 100-year history. By the way, that big hill that I planned to start on, like way up the top of that hill, besides the view of the sunset and the view of the mountains, I ran up there. I finished my run at the top of that hill. I was so proud of myself. And the stream died. Oh, well. But yeah, so today it's Old Town Restaurant here. Hey, Daryl. And we have this plaque that tells us what it used to be. Old Town Restaurant with a succession of owners. That's pretty cool. Now here, and we're on Main Street. It's called Main Street. Here at this little corner, the Maryland State Police Barracks from Mount Airy, Maryland. Is this Ohio? No, it's Maryland. I am Jack's Furious Paperclip. I love that. This is Mount Airy, Maryland. I see some new folks in the stream. I do apologize. It's usually not this stuttery or buffery. So thank you for holding on. Now this building here, and when it is safe so to do, I will cross back over again because we'll do some zigzagging so we can appreciate all these buildings. Again, this town started growing up in the 1830s when the railroad came here. That's what brought people to the town. Lots of Irish working on the railroad from Baltimore. I better go to a crosswalk. From Baltimore west, eventually to Frederick, Maryland, but here along the way at Mount Airy, Maryland. All right. And there's a view of that nice hill that I traversed early this morning to no avail. And that building that is now the State Police Barracks, that historic restaurant. And then this building here, the Watkins building, and these little shops across the way, dating to the mid-1800s here in this cute little town. I bet the people don't want to be called cute. This is a cute little town. I really hope the stream holds until we get to it, because we do have an historic train station on this route today. So this one here, the Riddle Moser building, 1920. Whoops, sorry about that. Although it doesn't feel old, 1920 is over 100 years. Okay, I've got to fix this camera now. What have I done? Made it all crooked. Hi, Norman. Nice to see you. Uh-oh, I might not. We'll try. Okay. I'm just going to keep going. If you're with me, I hope you are. I wanted to come up this street to check out an old breaking up. All right, we'll keep trying. In a distance here, Chewy's service station, Chewy's Automotive. This building established in 2008 in a petrol station that's probably about 100 years old. Relatively new 1980s looking petrol pumps, but they did put those glass domes on the top to make them look a little historic. So, give them some points for the effort there. Yeah, this is going to be a terrible stream. Potato quality. I'm so sorry. I do apologize. No, this is Maryland. This is west of Baltimore. Excuse me. This is the small town of Mount Airy, Maryland. And I appreciate everyone hanging out with me as long as this stream holds up. But I had been planning this one for a while because I don't think we've had too many historic train stations, and we've got one here. Now this building here, there we go. We've got a town clock. So on your small town bingo card, you can cross off town clock right there. It says Mount Airy, Maryland, and it's correct. It is 8:20. So bonus points that the clock is actually working. Now this building here, Town Hall, we can cross off Town Hall from hey, Red Dead Redemption. Stasis Geek is playing Red Dead 2 right now. I just noticed that on his channel. This building here, 110 Main Street, which is currently Town Hall, has been a lot of things in Mount Airy. It has been a bank, but hold that thought on bank because I love banks. It has been a bank. You can actually see a deposit box on the front door. It has also been the library. And now it's Town Hall / visitors area here on Main Street. But that's a really nice building. Yes, they did used to take the horse buggies down here. And they used to haul goods to and from the train station here. It's this little skinny building here. That's a good one. Hi, good morning. And this one, the Country Store Museum. This is the W.R. Ruddy Museum. There are a lot of businesses that have been homed in this building. A pharmacy, a post office, a general store. But I think it's really cool to see a little bit of history preserved in this building. Favorite piece of history in America? Oh, I don't have a favorite. There's so many paper. Great question, but gosh, it's really hard for me to say favorite. I'm into battlefields quite a bit, so that would be a good bet. My favorite battlefield is Antietam, which obviously is quite local to us here, but also beautifully preserved and interpreted. Here's another good view of that General Store Museum. I hope the signal is getting a little bit better. And then I promise to stop talking about the quality of the stream. It sounds like a business meeting here. Hey, Vaughn, nice to see you. Davy-verse, hi. This is just such a nice view, which I will dwell on in a second, of this Main Street. This is Main Street, Mount Airy, Maryland. And thanks to those who found me. I had to start this stream so many times. Okay, this is the last time I'll say it. It's a bad signal. If the stream dies again, I will end the stream. But I hope it hangs out because we're getting to an historic train station, and that's really why we're here. Gettysburg is a fantastic battlefield as well. And the whole town around there has gone through a renaissance. It became a really cheesy touristy trap like in the 1970s and 1980s. And there has been so much work done. And I'm a member of the American Battlefield Trust. They have done so much work to restore not just the battlefield, but to influence the town to restore to its historic roots instead of such a tourist trap. Don't say that, Daryl. 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 Useless history. Some people think so. Some people think so. Others think it's really important to remember our history. So I'll go over what we didn't see. I began this walk way up at the top of that hill, about a half a mile up there, way up there. At the top of that hill is a cemetery and a former school dating back to 1846. It's a stone building. It's beautiful, but there was no signal. It's always weird. On the top of the hill, you think there should be a signal. Um, from the top of that hill would have been a beautiful view of the sunrise, as well as a beautiful view of the mountains in Western Maryland, heading toward Western Maryland, like South Mountain. As we came down the hill, you can see here the town banners honoring their hometown heroes, so we can cross that off the bingo card. You could also see a water tower. And maybe there'll be a place down here where you can see the water tower that says Mount Airy. So that would have been on our bingo card as well. Historic church. There are a few of them. So we'll see another one down the end of this block. The fire department. We did pass the fire department. The town clock is right there. We're not going to count this post office. It's more of a museum. But yeah, we've had quite a few things that and the war memorial at the church at the top of the hill was the town war memorial. So even if you weren't here, cross that off. Hey, Sonal's Nature, thank you so much. Hey, Daryl, you know what? We have overhead lines everywhere. People are always shocked that in the United States we have so many overhead lines. We also had the town hall. I mean, we're really checking off this bingo card. Yeah, Judy, I think that's what it is. I just think my provider, is not as good as they say they are. But a few of you have found me. And a few of you are getting to see this awesome Main Street here. And we'll continue to head down the hill carefully. Oh my gosh, there's Rebs. This is where they relocated. Okay, so if you're local, or maybe they've been here too. Hang on. I don't think so. Because they're okay. This building was originally constructed in 1857 on land owned by the railroad. Yeah, Rebs is just here now. Okay, so Rebs, for those of you from Baltimore, Rebs used to be on Route 144, heading away from Catonsville. Homemade chocolate candy. Awesome, awesome for Christmas. So now that I know they're here, I thought they were gone when they moved out of the Baltimore location. I thought they were done. So that's really nice. Now we found Rebs. Amazing. And as the sign said, on land owned by the B&O Railroad, Baltimore and Ohio Railroad. And here we are at the historic train station and rail yard. And we're going to take a good walk around here. And see what we can see. So currently you can see the businesses that occupy this historic building. And that's okay, because if they didn't, this historic building may be here. And you can see the Caboose across the street. We'll go across and check out the Caboose. So this is the rail yard in Mount Airy. Hi, Orderly Chaos. This is in Mount Airy, Maryland. And we're checking out the historic Main Street and train station. We met a new friend yesterday, model railroad boy. And I told him I'd be at a train station today. Uh-oh. Okay, Daryl, I'm going to keep walking. Lovely little historic, what do we call that? Lamppost? Lamppost there. And around the train station, Mount Airy Historic Train Station, rededicated First established in 1875. So this station definitely came after the railroad got here in the 1830s, like in the late 1830s, the railroad got here. And we'll get a good look at the building. Thank you, Sonal. We've got a rail cart here. Baggage wagon. The Railway Express Agency baggage wagon. Pretty cool. Signal. Now the rails don't run through here any longer. The railroad was diverted in a different direction. It doesn't run through these little small towns anymore. Although if you're in Virginia, you get the chance to visit Ashland, Virginia, the railroad, the main Amtrak line still runs straight down the main street of the little town. It's amazing. And there's a live webcam called Virtual Rails. I think it's called VRE, Virtual Rails. They have a live cam there in Ashland, Virginia. And every day you see cars turning down and getting stuck in the railroad tracks. When they turn where they're not supposed to, and unfortunately they get stuck. But there, the tracks run straight through, right down the main street. Here, not anymore. The railroad was diverted, but the where the tracks were is now a trail for hiking and biking. I live around the museums in St. Joseph, Missouri, across from the Jesse James House. Oh, that's pretty cool. Hi, Larry. Hello, Derry D. Nice to see you. We're here in Mount Airy, Maryland, west of Baltimore, east of Frederick, an historic stop on the Baltimore and Ohio Railroad as it expanded west. And we're going to get a little sneak peek of what I'm going to tell you is my favorite building here. Just a little sneak peek. We still have some flowers blooming here. We haven't had a frost yet, although I think last night was the coldest night of the year. It got down in the 30s last night. It's about 55 right now. Feels great. Hi, Larry. Let's go check out. Actually, let's go check out my favorite building, and then we'll come back and visit the Caboose. So if you have your small town bingo card, let's see. This is a bank, but is it still a bank? Because on your bingo card, the historic bank has to still be a bank. And I don't think this one is. I don't think we get to count this one, but we can appreciate it. It is not a bank. It is a pub. It is the Liquidity Ale Works. So it's a bar. Look, they've got shuffleboard in there. It's a bar and restaurant. Oh, orderly. I might try that. I don't know if that'll work, but yesterday some folks told me that there were some problems since the last YouTube update. I do want to get a shot of this historic SO sign. SO, SO stands for Standard Oil SO, which turned into Exxon. So another historic petrol reference here in Mount Airy, Maryland, but the building next to it is not an historic building. So here is the historic First National Bank. We'll cross the road to see the sign that'll tell us exactly when this was built. I'm gonna guess 1908. That's just my ballpark guess here. 1908. We'll see if I'm right. And the reason I dwell on these buildings is because I do love banks. I think they're so distinctive. I think the architecture is just, always super Romanesque, you know, to convey that authority of the bank. And typically, in many small towns and many main streets and in many cities, the historic bank building continues to operate because of that distinctive architecture. Here, it's not. Here, this bank is not a bank. It's a pub, but that's okay. That is just okay. I can do that. Okay, it's not the camera, it's the street. the street is on an angle here. I still like this architecture. So let's find a safe place to cross and find out when it was built. Now, going down this street here, if you're ever in Mount Airy, Maryland, going down this street here is where you'll hit that rail, that historic railroad line that's turned into hiking trails, is right down this way here. And I wish this woman would turn. She had so much opportunity to turn her car. Thank you. Right down this street is the historic trail. One of the great things about Mount Airy is that there are historic signs and plaques on most of the buildings. So we'll get to know exactly what the historic pedigree of this bank is. You got that good old night deposit box here. It's seen its better days. Oh, 1930. Okay, I was way off. No. The First National Bank began business 1904. Okay, so the original building was 1904, but not this building. This building was reconstructed. Okay, I said 1908. It's 1930. I was off by quite a bit. But today you can come in here and play shuffleboard and have a drink. That seems like fun. No, BDJDJ. No. Hi, Somi. Nice to see you. Yeah, food truck here. So it's a weird thing. If you produce your own alcohol, so like distilleries, microbrews, etc., in Maryland, you can't make your own food at the same premises. You have to have a food truck or have a separate building next door to make the food. It makes no sense. It's a tax thing. It's very strange. Maryland sometimes makes it difficult to do business in our state. So this would have been the historic train station right here. The rails would have continued that way through where the trees are now. But over the years, the B&O Railroad was diverted away from these small towns, right? Because bigger towns were being built. And the railroad was getting bigger. Needed more facilities. And so these little small towns, in a lot of places, no longer have the railroad. Runkle's Mill and the Mount Airy Milling Company. Oh, that would have been, okay, so it would have been right here. So right here, where we're standing, right next to the bank. So from that Esso sign on the other side, if you were behind that Esso sign looking toward where I am now, hey, Halacron, nice to see you. You would have seen this mill right where I'm standing, right next to the bank. From the late 1800s to the mid 1960s, Mount Airy was a busy farming community. The railroad carried commodities from Mount Airy markets, carried needed manufactured goods into Mount Airy. In front of you, Runkle's Mill was one of the first mills built alongside the tracks. It was destroyed by fire in 1914. Cool. and we're very familiar with these maps. Martinet's maps. So if you're a genealogist, and I'll post to my other channel a little video about Martinet's maps. Martinet's maps are great because they had the names of the property owners for some of the larger properties, which is great. If you're doing your family history research, you can maybe find your ancestors' names on the maps. Pretty cool. And today we have a caboose. Hello, the Nav experience. I'm glad you all found me. This morning was another disaster beginning. I restarted the stream. I'm not exaggerating to say 12 times. I restarted the stream. Okay, there's no traffic coming. At the top of the hill, you can't see it. It's way up there. And I had to come down here to make it work. So thank you for finding me. Historic Caboose. The haunted Caboose. All decorated for Halloween. Look at that. Caboose. Booze. On October 26th. So if you're in Mount Airy, if you have kids, I'm guessing it's a kid thing, you can visit the haunted Caboose. And there's story time at 10 a.m. on October 31st. How cool is that? It's nice to see you, Nav Experience. From India. Wow. This is Maryland. Little small town between Baltimore and Frederick that was built along the Baltimore and Ohio Railroad. No food, drink, or pets. Okay, and the little the brew pub, the ale place that we took a look at from that side also has an outdoor garden out back. So a seating area. So it must be the place to be in Mount Airy. I wish you could have seen some of the homes at the top of the hill because I started up there at the War Memorial, the historic church. There was just no signal. But along the way, walking down here were homes from different eras, some Victorian, some early 1900s. Now, we're not going to count this as a town mural because it's a photo. It's kind of nice. So here's the historic view. And in the middle of the road at the top of that photo is where we were looking at the historic or the current Maryland State Police Barracks. That's cool. You can see the buildings as they were. All built around this train station. Hi, Paul. Nice to see you. Now we'll take a walk up this side of the street and get a look at the buildings on the other side. I mentioned Reb's Candies. I thought they closed up shop, so I'm glad to see them here. They were located in Baltimore, just past Catonsville. Homemade candies, awesome chocolate candies, and they're right here. So let's see what we didn't get on our Main Street bingo card, and we won't get a courthouse. There is not a courthouse here. This is not a county seat. If we were in, oh my, I think Westminster. Oh, okay, I might be wrong. I'm trying to figure out what the county seat of Carroll County is. Might be Westminster. Ooh, I better be quiet because I'm going to get it wrong. courthouse here. This is not the county seat. This is another look at this. You know, I remember these screen doors on some of the old, like corner shops in Baltimore. These wooden screen doors, they almost look homemade. Probably were. But I remember these on the corner shops. And there was no spring on them. They would just slam, or there was a spring on them and they would just slam. They would just, go in and out. And the poor shop owners, especially if kids are running in and out for snowballs or baseball cards, the sound of those wooden screen doors just slamming over and over again. But I remember those on the corner shops. So we won't have a courthouse. We haven't had a funeral home. I don't think we'll have a funeral home. Town clock is right there, 1894. And it's correct. It is 8:45. It's 1 minute fast. I think that clock is about, what do you think, sir? I think the clock is 1 minute fast.
It's actually right on time.
Is it right on time? Oh, mine just changed too. Okay.
8:46.
Anyway, when do we change next week, don't we? No, 2 more weeks.
Next month.
We got 2 more weeks.
Next month.
First weekend of November.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I like that one. That's a good one. Have a good day.
I've never seen anybody documentary this town.
Well, I try to get to, I play a little game called Main Street Bingo.
Okay.
And I have a bingo card. And I go through main streets. And last week it was Middletown, Maryland. And I look for things like the War Memorial, which is up at the church, the town clock, the bank is a bank, which is down there, the fire department, which is over there. So I have a whole list of things, the banners.
And you're standing in front of the old library.
And the old library. And the banners, the small town banners, and how close is the water tower. We know. So we play small town bingo. So this is a good town for small town bingo.
I grew up in this town, so I know.
Awesome. That's so awesome. Yeah. Well, thanks for chatting with me. I appreciate it.
No problem.
Locals are the best. So this building here, as I mentioned, from across the street was a store, another store, library, town hall, and previously commercial bank. So this building has a interesting and varied history here on this main street. That was very nice. And there's the drop box. Always looking for the drop box. We didn't find the post office. Across the way, Veterans of Foreign Wars. We got the little VFW hall. Generally the social club for men back in the day. Catonsville Home Design Centers. I come out here so early and then I see all these places that would be great for lunch, like pizza. Brick oven pizza would be great for lunch. And we're back to where that current Maryland State Police office is. Maybe I'll cross back over and see what that used to be back in the day. Yes. Thank you, Davey. It is November 2nd for us, which means oh my God, this noise. When you go to sleep on Saturday, you get that extra hour of sleep. You wake up on Sunday and you've had that extra hour, which is wonderful. And then, you guys are next week in the UK. And so for 1 week, the difference in time between the East Coast US and UK time, London time, is 4 hours instead of 5. And then we go back to, wait a minute, you go back 1. Yes. So it will be 4. So like next week's film club, we'll have to make sure we're really, or the week after's film club. Anyway, today's film club is Night at the Museum. Excuse me. Night at the Museum. So I hope you've watched the film. We'll be on Stasis Geeks channel at 3 p.m. U.S. East Coast time. That will be 8 p.m. British UK time for Night at the Museum on Film Club today. Everyone is welcome to Film Club. We meet every Saturday on Stasis Geeks channel. We randomly, the Wheel of Film randomly chooses a film for us to review, and this one is Night at the Museum, which we're excited about. And I've completely forgotten what the next week's film is. But it's not a war movie. We had a bunch of war movies in a row. That was rough. That was really rough. Oh my God. Some of the older clocks with the long hand above the short give a pretty big parallax. Oh, that is true. That makes sense. But I will say, even if it was off by a few seconds, that's the closest clock we found. I think just about every other clock we found just wasn't working. It was off by hours because it wasn't working. So I'm going to say that's a bonus for the center square, is if the town clock is working. So now we got our center square because we didn't get our other bonus for we didn't find that the firehouse had fire engines in it. This is the historic firehouse right here. It's converted into shops. And some of our other usual bonus points we didn't get. Now here's what I'm going to attempt to do. For everyone who's here, thank you so much for joining. I'm going to attempt to walk back up that hill because I really want to see if I can show you some beautiful homes, as well as if I could get up to that war memorial. That would make me really happy. I have a feeling that the stream's going to cut out on the way there. So I will thank everyone for joining me. Hang on if you can. Hang on if the stream can. See that hill? We're going to the top of that hill. We're taking the hill. And along the way, we're going to see some really, really lovely houses. Hello, S2K World Gaming. Great to see you. There's a very old sign there for York Automotive. Now, this does have that historic look, it has that look of like an historic filling station, because they used to have the, kind of the, what do you call it? Like the awning or the porch that came over and the car would drive under, or it could have just been automotive repair. Thank you, Davyverse. I know, Daryl, I'm not going to be all doom and gloom. I'm going to stop talking about the quality of this stream and just talk about the history. We'll see how far we can get here. And little remnants here, like this stone fence. Now, for my friends in the UK, and Europe and everywhere else in the world, we do realize that our history is not as old as your history. We get that. So this stone fence here might date to the mid-1800s. We know that's not a lot of history. For us, 200 years is a lot of history. But we recognize that there's a lot more preserved history across the pond. Oh, Davyverse, I really appreciate that. One life lesson you learned that no one will ever say. I always tell people, I learned something awesome from every job I've ever had, even the bad jobs. For example, my very, very first job was doing food prep when I was in high school. And I learned how to cut onions without crying. And it's an awesome secret that I still use today. And that is, you cut them underwater. You fill up your sink, you toss in your onions, you put your cutting board in the sink, and you cut them underwater. That's what we did in the little fast food restaurant that I worked in. So there's my life lesson. You can learn something amazing from every job you've ever had. Daryl, I try not to say that. I try not to say that because we're good partners now. We're good partners now. Here's one of those lovelies from the late 1800s. Here on Main Street in Mount Airy, Maryland. And here's another historic store. I'm going to guess this was a general store of some sort. The front part, at least. But we didn't get to see it earlier because of the stream. If I can get up to that war memorial, I would be so happy. There's another one behind the trees, undergoing some renovation. Maybe we'll get a better look at it. I think this was like a historic shop of some sort. Maybe early 1900s. This one's newer construction, but obviously it's made to look like the, oh look, we have a fire call box. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh. I feel like there were a lot of places that look like filling stations here. This would have been a service station, and why are there so many? Maybe because of the railroad? There's a fire call box appropriately situated at the historic filling station. How cool is that? Hi Slayer, we're in the United States. We are in Mount Airy, Maryland. We are west of Baltimore, north of Washington, and we're following the small towns that followed the railroad. And this is a doozy. It says, what does it say? Okay, the Phillips 66, we can see that. Millimaster. That's an oldie. That's pretty cool. Something about filling stations here. I don't know what it is. But this is like the third building that's looked like a filling station in this relatively small little tiny town. But how great is that? With the fire call box right there. Yeah, Millimaster. Nona, Donna. Well, that was a nice little find on this little side street. All right, we're going to keep climbing this hill until I lose the stream. And thank you all so much for joining me. I can't wait to see what my YouTube studio looks like because I literally did start this stream. Okay, I said 10. It's got to be 13 times I started this stream before it took. Probably have 13 3-second streams all rendering. So we're climbing out. There's the water tower. All right. So now we can officially check that off on our small town bingo card. In the distance, far in the distance, you can see that water tower, and it does say Mount Airy on it. So we've done really well on our bingo card. I should make a post to grade or recap our bingo cards. Traffic. So this is 30 miles an hour here. No one's doing 30. And then right there it turns to 25. No one is doing 25. Everyone's just buzzing through here. And there is another main road. Okay, as happens in small towns in the United States, there's usually, a highway or, a broader road that is built to bypass the small town. And here, Ridge Road is just 2 blocks down. That's the main road. It's Maryland, Maryland Route 27 is the main road here. But it bypasses this small town. So you can go from Maryland Route 70. If you go north on 27, you're here in Mount Airy. If you go south, you're in Damascus. Damascus doesn't have a main street like this. Damascus is like a crossroads, and we will do some videos on just those little crossroads that remain. Now that one's been renovated, but you can tell by the chimneys that the historic building is still there, even if it's been covered in beautiful new siding, new roof. When you have the historic chimney, always look at the roof. You can tell by the shape of the roof. You can tell a lot about the architecture. This one is gorgeous. It's a lovely little cottage. That beautiful bay in the front. Hey, Space Nut, great to see you. We're almost there. We may have made it. Shouldn't say anything. Now look at that one with the triple decker porch, deck, whatever we call it. I didn't want to say triple decker deck. That makes no sense. Triple decker porch in the back. This one, much more characteristic in the south. With all that porch space. You have more porches in the south, I feel. I feel that's not an official architectural conclusion. It's just my opinion. Hi, Katie Joy Doll Collection. Yes, can you see the comments? Can I see? I can see the comments, but when I'm crossing streets and actually even see that, even just walking on sidewalks, I literally tripped on something. I don't look at the comments as often as I should, so I apologize for that. But I have to keep myself from falling down. And this traffic is super close to this sidewalk. And they're going really fast. That is interesting architecture for sure. And then we have this lovely brick here. What state is this? Hey, CJ. CJ, this is Maryland. This is Mount Airy, Maryland, west of Baltimore, along the route that the historic Baltimore and Ohio Railroad took. And this town was built because of the railroad stop here in the 1830s. And this is a dazzler. This is going to be late 1800s. Is Mount Airy Mormon country? I don't know. I don't know. We're going to get up to the historic church here. Actually, we passed one church. It was Lutheran. So Maryland has a kind of a deep Catholic history, actually founded as a haven for Catholics that were escaping persecution in England, but became a state for tolerance. Maryland tolerated all religions. And then with the influx of Germans in the 1800s, a lot of Lutherans, the Irish, both Catholic and Protestant, the Scottish, Presbyterian. So now the stonework on this house, no idea if it's original or not. If it is, then this would certainly be a much older construction. So you'll find all types in Maryland. And yeah, Mormons too. We have the Mormon temple in Montgomery County, Maryland, which you can see from our Beltway, 495. Yeah, I think last week wins for the most beautiful homes near a main street. I mean, these are great. But last week we were in Middletown, Maryland. Oh my gosh. Those homes were magnificent. All right, we are back. We are on the top of the hill. This is where I could not get the stream to work. If it cuts out, I want to say now thank you to everyone. But this is the historic school and the war memorial that I wanted to start our stream at. So it's great that we're ending here. It's fine. We're also in a place where we're going to have a beautiful view of the mountains up at the top of this. I know, right? I don't have any Scottish ancestry. I wish I did. Hello, Oh, yeah. And look, we've got more people in the stream now than we have the entire stream. And this is where I could not get it going. So I did call it the wrong place. It's the Pine Grove Chapel and Cemetery, not Pine Ridge, not Pine anything else. Let me go up here, get a nice view of the sign, Pine Grove. That is a heck of a hill. I ran up that hill earlier though. And this is the historic Pine Grove School, 1846. With the cemetery behind, up on top of this hill, with this beautiful view, this amazing view. And over here, you got to really look. Next to this house, you can see the mountains in a distance. That blue bump way in the distance. Those are the mountains. So I planned to start my stream right here at this war memorial here that is dedicated to the honor and sacrifice of the men and women of Mount Airy who served in the armed forces in all wars, which is quite lovely. And a place on our bingo card. Now we also have a Civil War trails marker here at this stone, whatever it is now, is the location of the first Mount Airy School. So this building was constructed in 1846, and the Mount Airy School was here in 1868. And you can see here a a little bit of the history of the town and its role in the Civil War, particularly the struggle for the control of the railroad. And you can see here, we are here in Mount Airy. You can see this Route 144 and then Route 40, the National Road, the same National Road we were on last week. Here's Mount Airy. To the west is Newmarket. Continuing Frederick. Continuing west, there's Middletown. That's where we were last week. So we're right here. The National Road goes west all the way across the country eventually, as does the railroad. And you can see the troop movement north. Eventually, all the way up there. There's Gettysburg in Pennsylvania. We will also do a small town walk in Emmitsburg. We'll also do one in Thurmont. I don't see it on this map, but it's like around here, like around Catoctin Furnace, I think. We'll do a small town walk there. We will do a small town walk in Newmarket. We were actually thinking about doing that one today, but we wanted to see a railroad. And then we will do one in Buckystown and Jefferson. I've done studies in Buckystown and Jefferson. How many Leonardo DiCaprio movies can you name? And what's your favorite? Le General Manager. Scroll up in the chat and you'll see a link to Film Club today. We just did Catch Me If You Can 2 weeks ago on Film Club with Leonardo DiCaprio. We can name a lot of films. So if you'd like to join us at Film Club today, it's a night at the museum. So you're going to get Ben Stiller, Robin Williams, Owen Wilson. That's who we'll get today. But we'll get to more Leonardo DiCaprio films, I'm sure, throughout Film Club. Well, everyone, we finally made it. What a heck of a day today. I so want to thank everyone who joined me for this walk through Mount Airy, Maryland, and its beautiful Main Street. We had a really successful Main Street bingo card today. We are ending at the War Memorial that I had hoped to visit. The stream held out. You all have been absolutely wonderful. Mods, Davey-verse. Hey, Daly! Daly, it's great to see you. Davey-verse, thank you so much. Daily Dysfunction, great to see you. Holocron, thank you for everything today. Daryl, Ben, Viper was in here. Space Nut was in here. And so many new people. Thank you so much for joining the stream. I stream usually one morning on the weekends, depending on the weather. Might stream again tomorrow. We'll have to see. Maybe I will do Buckystown tomorrow. We'll see. I don't want to make any promises. I usually do one stream on the weekend and then one on the weeknights. This last week I've been, the weather's been great, so I've streamed a lot. But we do little history tours, small towns. Then we do like Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, Baltimore. I really appreciate everyone. I hope everyone has a fantastic weekend. Hope to see you at Film Club today. Everyone, take care.